Our global food system, it's this incredibly complex thing, feeding billions of us every single day. But it's also in a bit of a crisis, right? It's damaging our health and it's damaging our planet. So the big question is, can we actually fix it? Well, a really groundbreaking study in Nature Food might just have an answer. So let's get right into it and unpack their data-driven recipe for a total food system transformation.
So first things first, let's get a handle on just how big this problem is. Right now, the way we grow, process, and eat our food is responsible for about 1/3 of all human-caused greenhouse gas emissions. I mean, that's just a massive number, and it puts our food system right at the center of the climate crisis.
And that, of course, brings up a really important question. If we just keep going the way we're going, business as usual, what does our world actually look like in 2050? Well, the study actually modeled that exact scenario. And let me tell you, the results, they're pretty alarming.
Okay, so the researchers gave this default future a name, BASSP2. Just think of it like this. It's the world on autopilot, with no major new policies to steer us in a different direction. So let's take a look at what that future's dashboard looks like.
All right, first up, our health. By 2050, the number of people dealing with obesity is projected to just skyrocket from 848 million today to almost 1.5 billion. And look, this isn't just some statistic. We're talking about a massive global public health crisis, all driven by what we eat.
And of course, that health crisis comes with a really tragic cost. The model shows we're on track to lose 335 million, that's life years, every single year because of premature deaths from diet-related issues. That's a huge jump from where we are now, and it just means more lives cut short because of our food.
And the hit to the environment? It's just as bad. So this number you see? That's the projected nitrogen surplus. Basically, it's all the excess fertilizer that's polluting our ecosystems. It's set to jump from 239 to 297 million metric tons a year, which is just choking our waterways and really hurting biodiversity.
And this map really drives the point home. This damage isn't just some abstract concept. What you're looking at here are environmental water flow violations. In simple terms, these are places where we're sucking up more water than the ecosystem can handle. And you can see that by 2050, the problem just explodes, spreading from the current hotspots into new areas like Southern Africa and Eastern South America. We're talking about critical water resources being put at risk.
Okay, so the picture is pretty grim, right? The natural next question is, well, what do we do about it? The researchers tested more than 20 different ideas, everything from protecting land to changing diets. But what they found was a huge catch. Turns out there are no simple, easy, silver bullet solutions here. This is where it gets really interesting, because this table shows all these hidden trade-offs. Like, let's say you just focus on conserving land to protect biodiversity, which sounds great, right? But that makes land more scarce, and boom, food prices go up and poverty can actually get worse. Or it takes shifting to more plant-based diets, amazing for health and emissions, but it also means less demand for farm labor. Even a good thing like a minimum wage for farm workers can push food costs up if it's not handled right. The point is, pretty much every solution, when you look at it by itself, has a downside.
And that leads us to what is, honestly, the core finding of this entire study. It's all summed up right here in this quote. The takeaway? You can't just do one thing. The real magic happens when you combine these actions so they cancel out each other's weaknesses and actually boost their strengths. And this is what the researchers ended up calling the package deal approach. The idea is to stop looking for isolated fixes and start thinking about a real integrated system-wide transformation. To put it as simply as possible, the secret isn't finding one magic solution. It's doing all of them together in a coordinated way.
And that brings us to the hero of our story, the FST-SDP. It's a bit of a mouthful. It stands for a Food System Transformation in a Sustainable Development Pathway. It's the study's big idea, a comprehensive package that mixes 23 specific food system changes with 5 bigger shifts in things like energy and economic fairness. Basically, this is the blueprint for a much better future.
So, let's do a little side-by-side comparison, shall we? In one corner, we've got our default future, that base SP2 scenario. And in the other, we've got the transformed future, the FSTSD. And let me tell you, the data paints 2 completely different pictures of the world. Just look at the health outcomes. With the default future, we're losing 335 million life years every year. But switch to the transformed future, that number just plummets down to 93 million. We're talking about saving 242 million years of life.
every single year.
Okay, now let's talk climate. On our current path, the food system is still pumping out over 10 billion tons of CO2 equivalent in 2050. But in the transformed world, it's not just neutral. It actually becomes a massive carbon sink. It starts pulling over 6 billion tons out of the atmosphere. I mean, that is a total game changer.
And what about the human side of this? This package deal isn't just good for the planet, it's good for people. It would slash the number of people living in absolute poverty by over 600 million compared to that default path. It just goes to show that this transformation can be both green and fair.
Now this table right here, it shows something really fascinating. See, the transformed future isn't just better than that scary default path we were looking at. When you look at things like obesity and nitrogen pollution, the world in 2050 under this plan is actually better than it is right now. The data is basically telling us we could reverse some of the damage.
So yeah, the results are pretty incredible. But, and this is a big but, getting there is going to take action on a massive scale, and it needs to happen fast. So what are the key ingredients in this recipe?
Well, the study lays out some really clear, time-bound goals. By 2030, and that's less than a decade from now, we've got to totally stop emissions from deforestation and see a nearly 1/3 drop in how many animal products are consumed in wealthy nations. Then by 2040, we need to be re-wetting huge areas of peatlands and getting way, way better at how we use fertilizer. Look, the scale of this is just huge, but the targets couldn't be clearer.
So, at the end of the day, the science is crystal clear. We have a real, numbers-backed recipe to feed everyone well, stop destroying the environment, and build a fairer world. The model shows it can be done. The only variable the model can't account for is us. The only real question left is, do we have the will to actually follow the recipe?